Hiya, how you doing?
Hi, Ryan. We're all right. Did any of that give you any clarity? And where is your head at the moment with this club?
Well, I'm worried about the stadium because, what Jim said then, look what happened to Coventry. They had it all planned. They were a top-flight team, stadium built. They never went in it for years because it was taken away from them. And what worries me is that everybody's on about criticising Mashiri. He came in, put a lot of money into the club, and I think the issue is that somewhere between him and the manager, the structure's wrong. The guys didn't know. It's like, they've gone into a toy shop, they've spent loads of money, they've done it wrong. I'm not sure it's been the manager. It's the bit somewhere between Mashiri and the manager. And what worries me is a lot of people saying Mashiri out. I'd say be careful what you wish for. This guy's put a lot of money in. Be careful what you wish for.
Brian,
Stubbs,
Yeah, it's really interesting, mate, because that's the one thing I'm not as close to as people like yourself, Ryan. However, what I do see is, I do see a man that has put his money where his mouth is. And I know Laura said, and she's right to a certain degree, that the kind of buck stops here because he's not picked the right managers. However, if you look at the quality of manager that Everton have had, I mean, some of them, you can't argue with what they've achieved in the game. I think, and I look at it, and I just think one of the biggest problems is the recruitment, that the money hasn't been spent that wisely.
Absolutely. But don't you think there's something... Mashiri puts the money in, and I'm not sure the manager is necessarily picking the players to buy. There's something going on somewhere between... Ancelotti, the guy knows so much. Why did he didn't get it right? So many people just didn't get it right.
All right, mate. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate your call. Neil is an Evertonian as well. Good morning, Neil.
Morning, Neil.
Morning, Laura. Morning, Ali.
Morning, mate. What would you like to say about it?
It's been a mess for 7 years since I get that what the previous guy just said there about Mashiri's put money in. He has, but where he's wrong is the people in the positions around him. He came in, he's not a football man. He doesn't know a lot about football. So the basics of business, if you haven't got fantastic knowledge of that business, you put people in the positions around you who have got immense knowledge. Our directors of football have been a disaster if they've been the one that's been buying the players. Walsh, Brands, Felwell, jury's out on him as far as I'm concerned as well. With some of the signings, I've got 4 players here who were signed for big money, who hardly ever played because they're deemed not good enough. Sandro, Klassen, Tosin. Just he quite frankly is an example of everything that's bad about modern day football. As he just sits there on a big fat contract, taking the money, no interest in playing, more pay. No disrespect to Brighton, but he couldn't get in their team when they weren't very good. He's expected to get in our team. These players are not good enough, and these players have been given massive contracts, £100,000 a week contracts. They're not worth half of that amount of money. We've got nobody coming through the academy, and the director of football is responsible for some of that as well. No young players coming through. Chelsea, City, Liverpool, all these teams have got young players coming through the academy. If we haven't got any money, we need to produce at academy level, and we're not. Managers, stellar managers, some of them maybe. Silva's proven himself now, and maybe he was the one that should have been given a little bit more time. Ancelotti was never going to stay, And if you want to know what Everton are like, Everton shook hands. Whoever it was, whether it was Bill Kenwright or Mashiri, they shook hands 4 years ago on a deal for David Moyes to come back. And a week later, they got wind that Ancelotti might be available, so they went without Ancelotti. That's a measure of what these people are like. They shook hands with them.
All right, Neil, thank you so much for your call, mate.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.